Welcome to the Firewater Review, a weekly podcast dedicated to whiskey reviews. On this week's episode, we're going to review not one, but two Blantons straight from the barrels. I'm your host, Seth Brown. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Aaron Cave. How's it going, dude?
I am pumped.
Yes.
I've been looking forward to this show. I love me some straight from the barrel. So, times two. It's going to be awesome.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this too. It's been a long while since I've had straight from the barrel. I have been sitting on this one sample that you sent me, and then you recently sent another, so it kind of worked out. And turns out you still had an extra bottle of one of them that you sent me a while back. Yeah. So
yeah, we were talking yesterday, going, "Hey, what are we gonna do? Both of these?" And I was like, "Well, one of those bottles is gone, but." Luckily enough, I got up in the crawl space and did some digging, and I found a second bottle.
Sometimes it's good to be a bourbon hoarder.
Yes, yes, it is. So these bottles are kind of neat too because they're both bottled on the exact same day. It was September 2nd, 2015. One is from they're both from Rick number 43, and one is barrel 139. The other one is barrel 135. So 4 barrels apart. And the age statement, or not the age statement, sorry, the proof on them is super close. One is 128.2 and the other one is 128.5. So that's pretty interesting, you know, how close these were together and how close the proof is.
Yeah, I told you before we hit record here that when I was jotting down my notes, I had to do a double take. I thought I'd written down the same bottle twice, but turns out it's just very similar info. We've done Blantons before. We've never done the gold, and up until now, we've never done straight from the barrel. Like you, I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm not going to jump into a whole lot of history and stuff just for the fact that we did do a show with Jeremy Shell on Blanton's, and you know we talked a lot of history and stuff on that show. But I do have some interesting facts just from Straight from the Barrel. Straight from the Barrel was created back in 2002, 2003ish, around in that time, and it was actually it was requested for the French consumer. So the French were asking for a Straight from the Barrel. Isn't that weird?
Interesting.
Yeah. But since then, it's been all international customers. So Germany, Australia, Japan, the Caribbean. It's never been sold here in the States. They'll always overseas. It's uncut, unfiltered. It's, you know, they take the barrel and they dump it right through a fine filter to get all the charcoal out and right into the bottle. So the average age is somewhere between 7 and 9 years. The minimum age is 6. So all of them are over 6 years. And then they all go into, they're all distilled at 140, all go into the barrel at 125. And they come out somewhere between 130, 133. These are 128. So it's, you know, give or take, it's probably, you know, I would say 125 to 135, I would imagine. But yeah, you know, it's mash bill number 2.
I find it interesting. I mean, I know it's just kind of the science behind it, but these gain proof. Bourbon a lot of times gains proof when it goes into the barrel.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. It's cool how that works.
Yeah, I mean the higher that is up in the warehouse, the more alcohol concentrate there is. So the water evaporates, the alcohol stays, and it just gets hotter and hotter.
Yep. Yeah, you mentioned it's Mash Bill 2.
Yes.
And as we have discussed on the show, there are no antique bottles from Mash Bill 2. They're all either the rye or Mash Bill 1. And this, to me, and I think you have even said it, well, I know you've said it, that this is, I mean, it's basically an antique bottle.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Sans being a rye or Mash Bill 1. And if you think about it, I mean, the antique collection has gone up. It's like $90, $100 usually retail, if you find it at retail. Mm-hmm. And this with shipping is usually what, $120 if you buy?
Yeah, it's roughly about $120. I think it was last year. I contacted. I want to say I think it was like 4 or 5 guys here in Columbus, and because I saw they had straight from the barrel on Master of Malts, and I was like, hey, you know what? If you guys are interested in a bottle, let me know. I'll just do a big order, and I ended up ordering. I think it was 12 bottles of it, and I mean that was a pricey bill, but I got all my money back from everyone. But I think I charged everyone about $120 a bottle, and that covered pretty much all the shipping and the price of the bottles.
Yeah, it's if you can't find an antique and you want something that's, in my opinion, just as good as most of them, if not all of them, in most cases, I think personally. This, I mean, you can order it online. I mean, sometimes you got to keep tabs on Master of Malt because they'll run out sometimes. But if you just keep checking back, they eventually do get it back in stock.
Yeah, and if they do, always order 2 because the shipping is the same between 1 and 2. Shipping doesn't change, so you might as well just get 2 of them.
Right.
And they're a great company. I did this massive order, 12 bottles, and I did have one of them when they were shipped to me. The wax broke and the cork popped and it leaked. I mean, this FedEx guy, he just gave me this look when he brought me this soggy box, and I just looked at it and I was like, oh God, my heart sunk because this is something like you're like, oh my gosh, this is pricey bourbon. This box is wet, so did one shatter? Did one break? That's what's racing through my mind. And when I open it up, it's just the one had a loose cork. It was pretty much almost all the way off, but it was still kind of barely in. And so I took the bottle out, took some pictures. I emailed them, said, hey, this is what happened. Lost about half the bottle. And they were like, well, it says on our site that these tend to leak and crack and stuff like that. And they're like, but we can either refund you your money for the bottle or we could just replace it. But at the time they were out of, like you said, they were out of straight from the barrel. It goes pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So I just opted just to have them refund me the money for that bottle. So I practically got half a bottle of straight from the barrel for free.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just a great company. I mean, and the emails that went back and forth were answered pretty much immediately. That wasn't too much lag time. And I mean, people that are, I don't know if the people that are actually taking care of their email customer service stuff, if they're over in England or if they're here in the States, I don't know, but it was really quick.
That's cool. Yeah, because usually when you correspond with European companies, there's usually a little bit of lag. Yeah. Just from the difference in time. It's usually on average about 6 hours time difference between the two continents. But yeah, that's awesome, man. I've never had any experience with them as far as customer service, but I was going to say I've seen a lot of people ship Blanton's bottles using plastic zip ties, where they zip tie the cork down, go through the little horse and then around the bottom of the bottle, just to keep it snug in there, because that is a recurring issue. Well, all right. Let's take a break, man. I'm looking forward to sipping on this stuff.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you.
All right. We'll take a break, jot some notes down, and come back and share said notes with you when we return. Welcome back, everybody. In the break, we've been sipping on 2 different Blantons straight from the barrels. We are drinking barrel number 135, which is 128.5 proof. It's set in Rick number 43 and was bottled on 9/2 of 2015. And the other is barrel number 139. And it was also in Rick number 43, and the proof on it is 128.2. And it was also dumped on September 2nd of 2015. Per the usual format, I will let Aaron kick it off, and I will bring up the rear. Take it away, sir.
So, the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to kind of pick out the similar notes in these barrels before I actually go into what I get out of all of them. but on the nose, both of them have a nice honey note to them, and they both have a little bit of just wonderful caramel and vanilla notes. I get a lot of that citrus zest, like orange zest, off of both of them. They both have a nice rye spice and a little bit of that toasted oak. And on the palate, they both just hit you with honey and brown sugar. And I get raisins out of both of them, definitely. And there's a really nice cinnamon spice with both these. The finish is different for both of them for me. So barrel 135, I'll go through the whole thing. On the nose, I got a lot of honey, some nice butterscotch notes, caramel, got some nice raisin notes, the orange zest, a little bit of cinnamon, a nice rice spice that comes out, some toasted oak, and what really caught me was the leather. There's a nice leather note to this nose. And then on the palate, got a lot of vanilla and brown sugar up front, a little bit of honey, raisins come through a lot. I get that orange zest still. It has a nice buttery note to it, almost like a buttered corn, like buttered sweet corn.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of cinnamon and some nice toasted oak. Then on the finish, it's long. I mean, this thing just sticks with you. It gives you that nice Kentucky hug, and I mean, this is the type of bourbon I love. The finish is just honey. What really surprised me on this finish was I got some peaches on the finish. A little bit of dark chocolate, leather, and oak. We talked at the break, and for me, Blanton Straight from the Barrel is in my top 5 bourbons of all time. I've had quite a few of these pours, and I've never had a bad one. They've all been amazing pours, and I rated this one a 94.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I'm going to jump right into 139. So 139 is just a little bit lighter proof. It only 0.23.
Yeah.
So on the nose, I got that honey, but the nose had a nice butteriness to it, almost like buttered biscuits. A little bit of toffee, got some light chocolate fudge. The orange zest was there. Some rye. I guess a little bit of black pepper out of this nose. Light cinnamon and just a little bit of oak. It wasn't like super oak forward, but on the palate, a lot of caramel. Nice sweet corn, brown sugar, orange zest. The rye really kind of shines in this one. I think it's a little bit more rye spice to this one. I think I had a really nice butteriness to it as well. Both these had really great buttery notes to them, and this was almost like a buttered pie crust for me. And then nutmeg and oak, and finish long again. A lot of caramel, a lot of fudge, and got that rice spice, oak, and tobacco on the end. I gave this one a 94 as well.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I was this one actually. I was talking to you before we started the show, and I was looking at this bottle thinking it was super familiar, and I realized this was a review I did for the Bourbon Zeppelin. It was my 3rd review that I did for the Bourbon Zeppelin, and so I went back and I kind of looked at my review on the Zeppelin, and I ranked it at a 95 on the Zeppelin. So, but I did just open this bottle today, so it's the one I did for the Zeppelin. If you look at the picture, it's about half gone. So that was probably a good 6 months into it. So they need a little time to open up, but this one was still being freshly popped, an awesome pour.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because we were talking, I think I mentioned it was in the break, that, the 139 sample that you sent me, I've had for a while, but I hadn't opened it. To my knowledge, I've never opened it. And, I poured it straight out of the little Boston sample bottle. And just when I jotted my notes down, I hadn't really let it sit very long at all, which is not really like me. Usually if it's something I haven't had, I'll let it sit for a little bit before I get into it. But I jumped right into it, and then
that's how good it is.
I know. But then, I picked it back up. Probably 30 minutes after I first poured it, and I was like, golly, this has already changed. I mean, it hadn't even been 30 minutes, I don't think. but it had changed that much just in that amount of time. And like you said, there's obviously a lot of similarities between these two. I mean, it's the same mash bill. If there's any age difference between the two, I'd have to imagine it's very, very little, if any at all.
Yeah.
Especially being as close as they were in the same rick house and being bottled on the exact same day.
I would imagine same day, probably barreled as well. But
yeah. If I had to guess, that's what I would say too. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get into mine. There were a lot of similar notes that I picked up as well. You mentioned, I'll start with 135 too. You mentioned a lot of honey and caramel. I think my nose was kind of combining the two. I was getting kind of a maple syrup from it.
See that.
And some black pepper, nutmeg, oak, some burnt sugars, light toffee, and a little hint of some char there, and nice leather notes, and just a little bit of citrus. I can't remember what you said, but I just had a note of citrus here. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I think maybe you said orange zest or something.
Yeah.
And when I went back to revisit 135, I was getting almost like a little pinch of oregano in there. Kind of weird. Don't often get that, but I got it here. What I liked about both of these was the palate. I mean, it has both of them have absolutely phenomenal mouthfeel. They're just, both of them are really viscous, pretty creamy. But 135 just, it really hit the sides of my mouth to kick it off. It really coats the sides really well, hits the top of my tongue the same way. It's really bold, obviously full of flavor. It has a thick, creamy, almost going back to that syrupy feel to it, good amount of spice to it. I pick up some rye, black pepper, a little bit of red pepper, oak. Not as much as what you would think, just due to the proof, but it is there. It's got a nice balance to it, though. But vanilla, caramel, balance it out, getting some light tobacco on the palate. I thought it was balanced phenomenally between
very well.
The sweet and spice. Just a fantastic palate to this one. The finish is obviously really long. It's super creamy. Starts off with a good bit of rye spice for me. There's some red pepper in there. It really kind of starts to mellow out after just a little bit. Starts getting some of that sweetness to come in there from the caramel. Get more of that syrup, the burnt sugars again, the oak, some light tobacco, a little bit of leather. But it hangs around for a super long time. And this was a fantastic pour. And I gave it a 93.
Oh, nice.
So from that, I will jump into 139. Like I said, this one kind of changed a little bit. My notes here were from when I first poured it, but going back to it, I'm almost thinking they're a little bit more similar than what I first thought they were, now that it's kind of opened up a little bit. But I'm getting that same maple syrup. In the beginning, I wasn't getting quite as much as what I was on 135. It's just not as forward as 135 was on the maple syrup for me. I was getting a lot more spice on this one, a lot more red pepper, black pepper, cinnamon, some nutmeg, oak, and then there again, a little bit of leather and citrus. But this one was a little bit more spice forward in the beginning than what 35 is. Again, it's mellowed out a little bit just in the 30 minutes it's been sitting in the glass, and it is coming across a little bit more sweeter now, but I'm still getting more spice on this one than what I was on 135. Again, the mouthfeel is just phenomenal, very viscous. Maybe a little bit more than what 135 was for me. There's, like I said, definitely more spice on this one than what I thought 135 had. It's staying very consistent with the nose with that spice. Not quite as sweet as 135, but still some really nice caramel and toffee flavors for me. The spice, again, is a little bit more red pepper and cinnamon forward. Almost kind of like a red hot candy-esque type flavor for me. Just kind of, the spice is a little bit more forward, but you are getting some of that sweetness there. Mm-hmm. Not quite as balanced as what 135 was, I thought, but it's still just a fantastic palate. The finish is, again, very long. Not quite as creamy as what I found 135, but it still coats my mouth really well. The red hot candy kind of hangs out here for a bit, and kicks off that finish. Then that moves into some of the more caramel and syrup flavors that I was getting. There's definitely more leather on this one, I thought, than on 135. But again, just a great pour. I mean, for the price, I mean, you're getting essentially an antique collection that you can just about get any time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And just due to that kind of, I don't know, offset of the balance in the palate, I gave this one a 92. Not that much lower than 135, but I just preferred the nice balance of 135 over 139.
Nice. So that brings 135 to a 93.5 and 39 to a 93. For me, if I had to pick out a clear like winner, your stats show 135, and I'm also leaning that way. It's just like you said, it is a very balanced. I mean, the sweet and spicy just mix perfectly with this.
Yeah.
And the earthy notes just brings it all together.
Yep.
Where I did find 39 to have just a little bit more spice to it, like you mentioned, those red hots. But that's not a bad thing.
No, no, not at all.
It's I love the spicy red hot cinnamon. So it's I keep with my 94s for both of them for sure, because they're both great in their own way. But so those are the scores.
These are definitely what I think I gave Elliot's a 95.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I think we both ranked Elliot pretty high.
These these are up there though. If they're not the highest, they're pretty close to it.
Yeah, they're probably pretty close to the highest that we've ranked.
Yeah.
And for sure. If I had to rank my top 5 bourbons, this would definitely be in it for sure. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
But
and like I said, you can find it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad it's not in the antique collection, because I can still get it,
I just hope that no one from Buffalo Trace is listening to this. Not that they would take our recommendation anyway, but
yeah,
still.
Yeah, actually, my brother sent me a text today saying Master Malts had 3 different barrels on. Today. Yeah, and it crossed my mind, but the only reason I didn't buy is because when I was pulling this one out of the crawl space, I still have 6 more. So not of the same barrel, but different barrels. But
yeah.
So I'm not hurting to buy any at the moment, but
it's always good to have backups.
Yeah, and
so were you just buying one every quarter or 2 every quarter there for a while?
Well, I had a spurt where a lot of people were interested, and so I was just kind of like, well, I'll just buy 6 or 7 and get them in, and that cuts on, the more you buy, the less the shipping is. Mm-hmm. So I'd keep 2 for myself, and then I'd divvy out the rest to whoever wanted them, and it worked really well. And I did that for, they had a really good stretch there that they were having them like weekly, different barrels. So I just kind of stocked up and I just kept doing it. But, at some point you got to stop,
Yeah. Yeah.
When usually it's when you see your credit card bill, but, so.
Or your bank statement when you have.
Yeah. But, part of me was always like thinking I should just buy like 3 or 4 more just in case they do go, well, let's add this to the antique collection this year. Because as soon as they do that, it's gone.
Oh yeah.
It's gone. So
that's absolutely true.
A little part of me thinks that, I should always just stock up just a few more, but I'm good for now, but they will come. It will.
Yeah. And I do that with other stuff too, or have in the past anyway. I don't do it as much anymore, but you find stuff and you're like, oh, I mean, like the one store that I found the Elmer T. Lee at, they had 5 and I would just go back and buy one every week. And,
mm-hmm.
Knowing that the not the end of it was coming, but that you wouldn't find it anymore. And so I've managed to kind of stock up on it. And I typically try to keep 6 kind of in my queue without running out of them. I have 6 and then 1 open.
Yeah.
So it's,
it's
not,
good.
It's not a bad thing, I don't think.
No.
Anyway, but yeah, you can find them most of the time. Well, not most of the time, but a lot of time on Master of Malt. That's masterofmalt.com. There are some other sites that you can find them on. I can't think of any right offhand, but there are other sites out there that do carry it. You just have to look for them. But Master of Malt is the big one. That's all I have, man. What else? Anything?
Well, I think here probably within the next month or two, we're definitely going to get some more guests back on. I think we're hoping to get Dad's Drinking Bourbon back on. We definitely want to get Jeremy Shell back on for some Four Roses insight. He sent me a bottle, and hopefully we can get Seth a sample of that and do a show with him.
He also sent a very interesting sample.
Yes, that'll be a separate show. That's going to be a 2-night or a 2-show night. We'll probably do 2 shows that night because that's the Frankenstein bottle.
Yeah. He sent that, and I just opened it up. What in the world is this?
yeah, it's cool. We won't dig into that now because that'll be a whole nother show. But that'll be one to look forward to.
Absolutely.
What else? So next week, hopefully, we're going to be doing something with Old Forester. It's going to be either Statesman or 1920.
Yes.
So one of those two.
Area. Yep.
Yeah. So, anything else coming up that you can think of?
No. Well, we need to get on that giveaway.
Yes.
We've been sitting on that, and I slacked off on that.
Yeah. So we do have some Firewater Review Glencairns that we'll be giving away, and some samples from our personal collections. I think I'll just throw it out there right now. I'm gonna throw in this barrel 139 since I just opened this bottle.
Excellent.
I'm gonna throw a sample of that in for sure to whoever wins our giveaway whenever that happens.
I like it. Yeah, we should do that. What is today's?
This will come out
Friday. Yeah. Was that September 22nd? Yeah.
Yes.
So why don't we kick this off? We should just kick it off Friday.
Yeah, kick it off Friday.
Yeah.
Why not?
We'll do that. So
Glencairn glass, samples from my collection, your collection.
Yep.
Straight from the barrel is in the samples.
Excellent. And I'll dig around here. I'm sure I have something worthy of sharing.
Yeah.
I would have to.
This won't be the only thing I'm giving away. I got a few more.
Yeah.
Nice barrel selections to send out. So
yeah. Yeah, so why don't we do that? We'll this comes out on Friday. If you're listening to this on Friday, September 22nd, 2017, find the Firewater Review on Instagram. That is at Firewater Review, or Aaron or myself on Instagram. And because we'll share it from Firewater, we'll have some questions that you have to answer. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But be on the lookout for that. We'll let it. What do you say we let it run through the weekend? That sound fair?
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Love it. All right, cool. Well, let's do that then. So, all of that said, where can folks find you?
All right. So you can find me here on the Firewater Review, also at Bourbon Cave on Instagram and Twitter. I also write high proof single barrel bourbons for the Bourbon Zeppelin. Also write for the Sons of Winston Churchill. I think I have 3 reviews coming up. I kind of went hard this month, and it's Bourbon Heritage Month, so kind of went at it full steam. Hassie was loving it. I've been slacking for a little bit, and it's just been crazy with life and kid and work and this and everything else that's going on, and I've been slacking on my reviews for Hassie, so I felt like I had to make it up to him. So I busted out 3 nice ones, and so
bombard his inbox with reviews.
Yes,
I'm sure he didn't mind.
Oh, he didn't mind, but yeah, it was. I think it was like one each day. It was like a 3-day stretch where he got one each day. He was like, "Man, you're really on your A game now." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's been a while."
Getting caught up.
Yeah,
I need to do
nice
that.
When you get the. It's nice when you get the time to just sit down and just, that's what I love about doing reviews, because you get to sit down just by yourself, pour a glass, and just dive into it.
Yeah.
And just for me, I get lost in it, and I just get to really enjoy it. And that's what I do is when I really can just dive into it and enjoy it and just write about it. It's one of the best things for me.
Yeah. Yeah. When I do mine, I typically come down to the basement just because it's quiet. Sometimes I'll turn on, I've got an old Zenith radio that was my grandparents'. It picks up, I think, 2 stations down here in the basement. One is
tell me one smooth jazz.
One is it's an NPR station, but at night they play jazz or blues or old blues, just depending on the night. So it's nice because it doesn't, I don't want to turn it up too loud. It's an old tube and the thing's from 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to blow it out, but it's nice. I just come down here. It's quiet. Like I said, you kind of get lost in it and you can really focus on it and enjoy it and jot down some notes. And it's just a nice kind of little escape, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. I enjoy it, man. I really do.
It's my me time.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, speaking of the son of Winston Churchill, I've got 2 1792s and I need to get over to him. I've had the reviews written like in my notes. I just haven't typed them up. I just need to type them up and get them to him. I've been slacking on that too. So maybe I'll pull an Aaron Cave and drop a bunch in his inbox.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout, Hassie. I am Seth P. Brown on Instagram and Never on Twitter. You can find me here on the Firewater Review. You can find the Firewater Review on Instagram at Firewater Review, as I mentioned earlier. Be on the lookout for that giveaway. Again, that's going to be a Firewater Review Glencairn, courtesy of Roundtable Woodworks and Chris Williams.
Yes.
So we appreciate that. And then some samples from both Aaron's stash and mine. And you can find Son of Winston Churchill, which we've mentioned. That's sowchurchill.blogspot.com. And then you can find them on Instagram at Son of Winston Churchill. And actually be on the lookout for Son of Winston Churchill. Hassie's got another Around the World, the Whiskey World in 7 days coming up, I think in October? Late October?
Yes. Yep.
Something like that. So that'll be another series kicking off next month sometime, or 1st of November. I can't remember when it is. Either way, be on the lookout for it. And I think that does it for now, I believe.
It does, because both of my glasses are empty.
Oh, man. I got work to do then. Mine are not. So let me stop recording and polish these off. So until next week, please drink responsibly and cheers.
Later.
The Firewater Review is part of the ABV network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers.